Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing Buffy Season 9, Issue number 4, Freefall, Part 4. Take a look at this comic cover right here. Now, sorry that this review is actually a week late. I was incredibly tied down by finals, and if you guys want me to, I can actually read one of the credentials for my finals, like the actual guidelines. It's quite ridiculous. But finals are done, school is done, and I can actually get into doing regular reviews. So, last we left off with Buffy, she was kind of cornered by this individual, this man, who has the ability to take away the demon aspect of vampires. Granted, it kills the individual, he can still take away their powers and empower himself. What does he want to do? Well, he wants to take Buffy's powers away, which sounds like kind of an interesting concept. And the majority of this issue right here, and I don't want to go too much into spoilers, is her fighting this guy. Her trying to make sure he doesn't absorb her powers, and him getting superpowered and all jacked up, and yeah, basically that's a bit of the issue. There's a bit at the end where we see who's truly behind all this, who's the one that kind of pushed him in the direction to attack Buffy. A little resolve stuff with Willow and Spike, but really the majority of the issue is just her fighting this guy. So we'll just at this point jump into the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it. Good. I think the concept for this villain is a good villain. The ability that he can take away vampires' demon aspects, empower himself, take away Slayer's powers, and empower himself. Kind of cool aspect, and there's a lot they could have done with it to make this character fun and enjoyable. So I kind of like the bad guy. I also thought the dialogue was good, and the characters were, for the most part, within character. And the Willow stuff at the end was pretty nice, showing that Willow's not absolutely upset with Buffy. She's just a little ticked off. Bad. Boy, did this story go in the opposite direction that I wanted to. When I was reading the story, I'm like, wow, they're actually taking a cool risk with Buffy. Particularly where something was going down between Buffy and Spike and the guy absorbing powers. I don't want to give anything away, and I thought it was going to go in a direction, but no, everything gets whitewashed and wrapped in a nice, neat package and a happy-go ending, and let's go get pizza afterwards. It just felt like there was so much potential that just wasn't used. So that kind of disappointed me a lot. In addition to that, I don't think we're going to see this villain again, or at least not for a long, long time, which is again kind of disappointing. And lastly, it felt a little rushed at the end. On a whole, whether or not you should get it, well, it's kind of funny because last issue, I enjoyed that issue. The issue beforehand, I believe I enjoyed that issue also. The first issue, I didn't care for. This issue, I'm not too keen on either. It just felt like everything was rushed and wrapped into a nice, neat package. And they could have gone the distance with this. They could have done a lot with this storyline, and they didn't. I love Buffy to death, but I think at one point they should have just said, you know, we'll stop the series here and we'll let Well Enough be alone. It's kind of like with Star Wars. I love Star Wars to death, but there's a point where you should have said, let's stop the Star Wars universe for a while. It'll never happen because of this. This and most fans will get outraged. But I would have been okay if in 1999, after Spectre of the Past and Vision of the Future, that they just stopped the stories with Luke and Leia and stuff, and just, you know, they could have done the prequel shit, as much of a shit that is, but they could have stopped it there. And that would have been fine. It wouldn't have been oversaturated. With Buffy, it's kind of oversaturated, and it's hard to go from having this big epic story with Twilight, and then go to these smaller, more contained stories. It's just tough. I know how it feels because when I DM in D&D, sometimes I go to these epic stories, and after that, it's hard to go back down. I said this analogy before, and I'll say it again. In one of my D&D stories, we're having a big climactic finish. After that, I'm going to have to set the stories X amount of years in the future, or I'm going to have to set it on another plane of existence, because really, after a huge stories like that, where do you go from there? So, yeah. Long story short, issue number 4, it's not horrible because there's good points in it, but it's just not overwhelmingly good. When it comes down to this, or Angel and Faith is knocking out of the ballpark compared to this. This is just mediocre. So I'm going to end this review here. This is Andrew saying, Peace out for now.